Happy Monday, everyone, and welcome to the Early Edge. I am the Counselor of Cash. I see everybody in the chat already putting in picks, saying hello, saying good morning, family. A good morning back to you as well. Hit the like button if you could. Let's take a look at what we did on Saturday. Love to see this. Headlined by Mackenzie Brooks hosting and giving out picks. Amags was on the show, and of course, you know, he does that Twitter space right after the Saturday edition every single time. I know we smashed it there too. We went 3 out of 4. We will take 75% every single time. And we're going to try to replicate that today with plenty of picks, mostly on the diamond, a little NHL, a little soccer. And of course, I know I see your picks in the chat. Let's bring on the stars of the Monday show. We've got buckets for soccer. We've got Amags for baseball. And we've got Proppy for who knows. It might be baseball. It might be basketball. I'm not 100% sure. Buckets, let me start with you. How you doing today?
Sia, I'm doing all right. As you guys know, I had a tire pop over the weekend that was a little bit frustrating. Took Freya out on a morning walk, came back and saw that another tire had gone flat. So I am in survival mode right now, but we're here. We've got soccer, and more importantly, we've got both Copa and Euros coming up later this week. So plenty of action to help get some money back.
I think people are messing with your tires just to keep you home for soccer picks. Very crafty, someone out there. Very crafty indeed. We have a birthday to get out of the way, though. Maybe I should have led with Propstarz. Propstarz, happy birthday, my friend.
Thank you, Sia. Yep, thanks to everybody in the chat. 37 years young today. Feeling my age for sure. Had a little accident on Friday. A little surprise before the birthday, but all is well and ready to break down some baseball today, Sia.
Hey, Max, you and I share the same look of confusion. Is that like a throw your back out type thing, or are we getting into HIPAA violations? We don't want to get into what the accident was, Proppy.
A few select no, especially if you watched HQ on Friday night. But I'm going to leave it a secret for now, but maybe as the show goes on, Sia, I may reveal what happened.
All right, fair enough. And everybody in the chat, good for you for saying happy birthday. Please hit the like button as well. Amags, before we get into our official picks, and of course, we're going to lead off with buckets. How you doing today? 2-0 on the Saturday show. Love to see that.
Yeah, it was a great day on the Saturday show. And as you mentioned on the extra innings, absolutely crushed a couple of ladders there too. So that was a lot of fun. And happy birthday to Proppy. Hopefully the accident wasn't too bad there. I hope it wasn't a blown out tire like Buckets, but maybe that would be the best thing.
Too soon. Amags, too soon. Look at the look on Bucket's face. By the way, that extra innings, I got to say it again, because you do it right after the Saturday show and you crush it most of the time. But just from an informational standpoint, that is a really good stopping point right after the early edge on Saturday mornings. All you got to do is go to Amags Twitter and you'll be right there where his Twitter space is. I highly encourage everybody, if you want to learn baseball and if you want to get picks, that's where you need to go at around 10:30, maybe a little even a little earlier on Saturday morning. All right, Buckets. We've got some soccer. We got some soccer cappers in the chat. I see you, Bradley Jacobs, but you're our soccer capper on this show. What are the picks today?
See, I was going to brag about the fact that I did not miss a single soccer play all last week on the early edge, but then I remembered I was only on Friday, so not going to brag too much about going 1-0 there, but let's go for 2-0 as we bet on some Brazilian Serie B action taking place at 6 p.m. Eastern tonight. We've got Villanova, which I'm pretty sure is also a college basketball team, if I'm not mistaken, taking on Sierra Fortaleza, and we're going with the classic here of both teams to score, which is currently priced at plus 100. So we're getting that even money that we love so much for two fairly offensive teams. Brazil Serie B is a bit of a nightmare when you're betting on goals because you do see some teams like Avaí that play for 0-0 draws constantly. You've got a couple of these clubs that just don't know how to score. But Sierra and Villanova are two teams that do know how to score. Both clubs are currently averaging more than 1 goal scored per game and 1 or more goal conceded per matchup. And if you are a fan of head-to-head matchups, this is a tasty one. Both teams to score has hit in 5 of the last 7 matches, and over 2.5 goals has hit in 6 of the last 8. Right now, I see two teams both in good form, both in not losing form, but most importantly, both in scoring form. So I love a little plus action at both teams to score here, Sia.
All right. I love the play. And yeah, listen, undefeated is undefeated, Buckets. We'll take whether it's 1-0 or 10-0. We'll absolutely take that. That's our soccer play. If you have any questions for Buckets on your soccer plays, put them in the chat. And if you have any MLB picks, listen, obviously it's a lot of MLB intensive stuff, especially with no basketball tonight. So if you have MLB questions, there's a handful of games. and I'll kick it over to Amags or to Propstarz and see if they have any answers for you. Speaking of the NHL, we've got a SportsLine pick, and we're taking the dog here. The team that got a lot more shots on goal than the Florida Panthers last game in game one, but somehow ended up losing 3-0. Bobrovsky was very good in net, but we're taking some variance on him having all those saved. We're taking the Oilers money line at plus 120. Certainly like the plus 120 number. I like the Florida Panthers going into this series at minus 135 as a series price. But they've got that 1-0 lead, and we know hockey. You know how we know how varying it is on the road, at home. I do like the Oilers in this spot, especially at the plus 120 number. Now, granted, this isn't my pick. This is a pick on SportsLine. If you want to see whose pick it is, just go to sportsline.com/join. Type in the promo code winners if you're not already a member, and you'll get 60% off the annual plan. All these picks, of course, on SportsLine. This game is at 8 o'clock tonight. And by the way, we've got a new BetMGM promo. Well, actually, we had a new one on Friday. This is the same old, same old. This one, if you haven't taken advantage of, I highly encourage you to do it because this is completely legit. New BetMGM customers can sign up today and get up to $1,500 in bonus bets. Just place your first wager of at least $10 and you'll receive up to $1,500 instantly if your bet loses with bonus code EDGE. That's bonus code EDGE, EDGE. All right, Big Cheesy, I see you with your props. I see you with Celtics in 4. Very, very interesting. All right. Proppy, I do maybe want to go to you real quick on this Celtics series. I know you already have a pick in on SportsLine for the next game, but before we even get there, let's hear a message from our partners.
Well, you need your sports news anywhere?
We've got breaking news to bring you.
Then get your sports anytime you want them. Big trade news overnight to discuss.
Because we know you need sports all the time.
A lot of movement in the rankings this week.
A legend adds to their legacy.
We're bringing you that breaking news right here on HQ.
CBS Sports HQ, anywhere, anytime, all the time.
We are back on the Early Edge presented by BetMGM. Hey, Max, before I get to your pick, I want to go to you real quick because obviously we saw the Celtics Mavs yesterday. The Mavs obviously came out a little bit better than they did in game one, but just kind of slowly fell off as quarters 2, 3, and 4 materialized. What's your thoughts on now Dallas going home? You know, who knows how healthy Luka is, but I kind of think, you know, Dallas grabs one in game 3. I don't know about game 4. I haven't really decided, but, you know, we do see some sentiment for the Celtics really kind of running away with this one. And I get it. When you have Jason Tatum having an off game and they're still winning kind of comfortably, I understand that sentiment. Where are you at in this series?
Yeah, it's been an interesting series, obviously. See, I thought Dallas, they played well in the first half, as you mentioned, kind of ran out of gas, literally and figuratively, in the second half. Luka, to me, looks worse than he did in the previous series against the Timberwolves, despite having the 9 days off. I have to wonder where his conditioning is at. He really ran out of gas in that game. I thought we'd see the best version of Luka considering the break. But I still think Dallas can get back into this series. It really just takes one competitive run in order for them to get back into this. If they win this game and then obviously they protect their home court, they can still make it a series. They would have loved to have split in Boston, obviously, but I think Dallas is still alive. I still think they can make it a competitive series.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a competitive series as well. I wouldn't be surprised if we go back to Boston with the series tied 2-2. And I still think the Mavericks, and I assume they're like plus 400 at this point. I didn't even bother looking. That's on me. They were plus 310 before game 2. So they got to be in the plus 400 range to win the series. I'm just saying I don't hate that play because we know Luka can get back to form. If Kyrie starts playing a little bit better and these role players continue to shine, they might be in good shape. Go ahead, Proppy.
I think it's plus 550 actually as of right now. So if you like Dallas, great price.
Pretty good price. I might have to jump on that one. Plus 550 is a nice number. All right, Amax. You hit a couple of plays on Saturday, and I feel like if memory serves, maybe you're kind of going back to one this Monday morning.
Yes, I am, Sia, and I've already seen Big Cheesy, our guy Big Cheesy here in the chat, talking about Kyle Harrison and how he thinks he's going to, quote-unquote, serve them up today. And I do agree there. I don't think Kyle Harrison is a very good pitcher, so I'm going right back to the well with our play from Saturday. Yordan Alvarez over 1.5 hit run RBI. It's at minus 130 right now, so a very similar price to what we got it at. And we did play it yesterday on my Twitter. It didn't hit, but in that start, Alvarez, it was 3 walks, but it was really like 2 intentional walks, even though one of them was only technically intentional. And I think that tonight, if you're going to play this prop at the minus 130, also on DraftKings, go over there and play the walk at over a half a walk plus 170. I like what Alvarez can do with the bat, specifically against lefties. We've seen him be a reverse splits guy, which means the lefty is better against a lefty. And that's been, pretty much his track record over the last few years here. Again, this year, 340 average, 900 OPS against lefties. He's, really just been kind of that same old guy. And even in that first at bat against Patrick Sandoval, really the only at bat they let Alvarez hit, he roped a ball that he broke his bat on, and it still went, well over 300 feet. So I do think tonight against Harrison, a guy that historically over the last couple of seasons here, short sample size last year, but he hasn't been good against lefties. 300 average against lefties last year, 275 this year, better than a home run per 9, better than a hit per inning. So I think you play the walk at plus 170, be happy there if he does get the walk, but you also play the Alvarez over 1.5 hit run RBI at minus 130.
All right, I have a couple follow-up for you, and then I want to put out a couple of picks from the chat. First of all, I don't want to forget Bradley Jacobs' pick. He's got, he says, reminder, Poland versus Turkey, both teams to score. Buckets, I want to go to you if you have any comments on that, and there's another question too. But before I get there, Buckets, real quick, J-Met says, if my book doesn't have hit run RBI props, what's the best way to play the Alvarez bet? Do you have any recommendations for J-Mets on that, Amags?
Yeah, so you saw on the website yesterday, I played total bases, and it's a little bit funny when you play total bases, especially with a guy that can walk, and then even in that spot where they wanted to walk him intentionally. So I think you could play the total bases. Again, it's going to be 1.5. I don't exactly know what the odds are, but if you're getting better than plus 120, I'm totally okay with it. We had plus 120 yesterday. Happy to play that number or better, and then play the walk on DraftKings, and it's also on a bunch of other books. Should be around plus 170, plus 160. I'm fine with that as well. Kind of covers you a little bit because a walk, as many of you may not know, is not a total base.
All right, good education there. Real quick, Buckets, before I go to you, SportsLine, thank you for tweeting this out. Plus 650 are the Dallas Mavericks to win the series. Plus 650 at BetMGM. So if you're a believer at all, the best number is going to be at BetMGM. All right, Buckets. Real quick, I don't know if you have any comments on Poland versus Turkey, both teams to score, but also there was a question as to whether you were going to have soccer picks during the Olympics.
So I'll address the Poland versus Turkey matchup first. And I do want to tell everyone, I love Bradley Jacobs. I think on paper, this is a great play to take both teams to score. This is still an international friendly, which means we're getting some of these matchups where you can tell that neither side really cares. Italy did just Turkey played a bit of a bizarre 0-0 matchup before this, but normally Turkey is a team that does score a lot of goals. And I apologize, Poland versus Turkey, not Italy, getting my teams confused. I'm not betting it personally because I don't like betting international friendlies, but if I had to bet something on that game, it would be both teams to score. And yes, we will have all of the Olympics, Euros, and CONCACAF plays on the site over at SportsLine. And we'll have plenty of plays all summer long on the show as well, Sia.
All right. Amags, thank you, Buckets. I got to kick it back to you because this Astros play, you're targeting Kyle Harrison. Some people in the chat obviously targeting Kyle Harrison. I'm curious because, and I think the Astros are dealing with some injuries too, but they are walking into San Francisco as just, barely favorites, minus 115 favorites with Spencer Arrighetti on the mound against Kyle Harrison. That was a game I was looking at a first five or a full game play. Am I just like, I understand you're not playing that and you're playing the prop, but any thoughts on the Astros just to win that game?
So I think I would rather take it to win than the first five. I don't think I trust Spencer Arrighetti enough to back him per se, but I also don't love it. So last night, Hader comes in, has to finish off the 8th inning and does so, but allows Presley's inherited runners to score. Then the next inning gives up that weird home run that drops out of the left fielder's glove into the stands. I don't know if they want to go back to him here today, so you might be missing your closer. And then Bregman with being hit in the hand, not exactly sure when he's going to play against. You're missing a big piece there. That's good against lefties. I did see Cheesy talk about Altuve in the chat. I think after a big night last night, maybe I'd want to go to some other props there on the Houston side, but I don't know if I specifically want to back them fully.
Yeah, that's fair enough. And that's, part of the reason I initially I looked at that and I felt pretty comfortable with it. And then I kind of backed off. So you're kind of ratifying why I backed off there. By the way, Eric David says, kudos to Sia on keeping his focus during the Brady Bunch love affair between Proppy and Buckets. Buckets, do you know what the Brady Bunch is?
I do. It's one that I finally heard of. It's the weird intro where everyone pops up in their own little squares. I know that.
Do you know what Hollywood Squares is, though?
Is that what they call the Brady Bunch?
No, it's a game show. Proppy at 37 may know what that game show is. Proppy, you know what the Hollywood Squares are?
Of course I do. Yeah.
All right.
Big fan. Big fan of TV game shows.
Big fan. Jim J. Bullock for the block. That's all I remember. All right. I'm going with my pick, and then we're going to go to Proppy. If you have any other questions or comments. Oh, Danny Brasco's in the chat as well. Ask him anything you want. He doesn't just cover UFC, by the way, folks. He does all of it, including WNBA, where he's been on fire. We're going to have him on the show to talk WNBA very soon as well. I'm going to a really chalky one here, folks, with a little bit of juice, but I'm going to target the Orioles in terms of betting on the Orioles. I'm taking them first 5 money line minus 145. The best number I found was in fact at BetMGM. Most places have this at like minus 150 first 5 or even minus 155, but BetMGM still has the minus 145 up. I get Corbin Burns on the mound against Pepio, and Pepio's been pretty kind of decent, but honestly, he's not faced a ton of great lineups. He really hasn't. And if you look at the last 4 or 5 games, we've seen some regression from him. And again, that's against lineups that just really aren't that good. Now he has to face an Orioles lineup that we know is kind of great in general, but certainly great against righties as well. I get Corbin Burns on the mound, and I get a team that's going against a pitcher that's regressing, in my opinion, that really hasn't faced a lineup like the Orioles anytime recently. So give me the Orioles first 5 money line minus 145. If you hate the juice, by the way, I see Maestro's in the chat too. Ask him any questions. If you hate the juice, you can lay the half a run. You can lay the run line. I choose to go with the Orioles first 5 money line just to get that push in play, kind of a just-in-case play there. I don't mind paying the minus 145 in this particular situation, but give me the Orioles first 5 money line. All right. That's my baseball pick. You just heard Amags baseball pick. We already got Buckets picks out there and a lot of your picks in the chat, but we need one more. Proppy, it's your turn. Are we going to the NBA? Are we going to Major League Baseball? And if we're not going to the NBA, have you already put in a pick on the app, an NBA play?
I absolutely have, Sia. Yes, I already have a pickup on the site in the NBA. We're not going to the NBA yet, though. I'll save that for tomorrow or the next day. Going to the Diamond, I'm going to actually take Dylan Cease to record a win of the Padres. Looking at this game, the Padres are big favorites. I want to pick on the Oakland A's, who after their pretty good start have really struggled down the stretch, have really been bad away from Oakland as well. If we look at the money line in this game, the Padres, I believe, are minus 220. I know they're big first 5 favorite as well. So I think Cease to record a win at plus money is a good way to approach this game. Cease is having a very good season, arguably his best season. If you look at a lot of the stats, the expected stats as well, you could even make a case that he is a positive regression candidate as well. I also think he has a good chance to go deep. If we look at his outs prop, it's set at 18.5. So I expect him to go 6+ innings. His K prop is 8.5, which is a huge number there as well. So I expect him to have a lot of success against this Oakland lineup that I believe is a regression candidate. I believe they've been performing a bit above expectations. And then the San Diego offense has surprisingly been very good. Second in OPS against opposing right-handed pitching. They're going to face Joey Estes today, who has not been very good outside of Oakland, albeit a small sample size. But I think the Padres can provide Cease with enough run support, and I also like his chances of going over 6 innings, as the odds makers do as well. So I will take Dylan Cease to record a win. You can find this around plus $1.10. So good price there. I will also have probably an additional 1 to 2 plays up on the site later, 2 K props that I'm waiting for the site to populate. So stay tuned. Likely be a few more plays for me as the day persists. Last but not least, I do want to say regarding the injury that I suffered, if my body was a car, it would be the equivalent of a blown out tire. So a little synergy between me and Buckets there.
Wow, Buckets and I are both trying to figure that one out. Buckets, your response.
Blown out tire to a human. So something with your foot?
Yeah, I broke my toe.
Ah.
Oh, well,
sorry.
Okay,
sorry, don't mean to laugh at that. Sorry for your...
Yes. Is that like you like jammed it into like a bedpost or something? Like
it's embarrassing, Sia, but I'll be forthcoming. I had my laptop in the restroom with me, and it was up while I was watching a movie, and it fell off of the sink and landed on my foot.
You know, people don't think handicapping sports is dangerous, but here we are. We put everything on the line for you folks at home. By the way, it was somebody who said, it was David Kleineidler, who said ride with Proppy on his birthday day. So yeah, you got to take his pick. And Moshi says, yes, synergy. I got Padres first 5 win only. A lot of people are looking for like baseball parlays and things of that nature. Maybe because it's a slower sports day in theory with some of these sports not going. So people are really trying to get creative. I don't necessarily recommend the parlay, but it reminds me of kind of a crazy play I had. Amags, I want to run this by you, and then Proppy, if you have any thoughts on this as well. Dakota Hudson on the road against Minnesota. Now, Dakota Hudson's been bad at home. He's not necessarily a great pitcher in general, but I'm getting, if I wanted to play this, it's not an official pick by any means. I'm getting the Rockies first 5 plus a half against Paddock, who I don't think is very good. Paddock at home, Minnesota Twins, plus a half at plus 120. First 5 plus half at plus 120. Amags, just real quick thoughts. Is that like definitely a stay away? Am I kind of reaching here? I mean, obviously, if you don't want to take the plus half, it's like plus 190, something like that. Any thoughts on that matchup in particular?
Yeah, I just don't love backing Dakota Hudson, honestly.
Yeah.
I think I would probably just try to put my money somewhere else. But now that you mentioned parlays, really quick, if you want something that includes Dakota Hudson here, since the people are clamoring, maybe a little walk parlay, Dakota Hudson over 1.5 walks, and Spencer Irrigetti over 1.5 walks. Somebody else I was looking at, I mean, he's been, at least 2 walks in every start, but even in the 3s. So you're looking at plus 125 there if you want a little plus money, and it does, like I said, include Dakota Hudson.
All right. See, that's what I do. I give out a play that isn't a very good one, and Amags turns it into something. He's like a chef. I give out the ingredients, he puts together the meal. Proppy, any thoughts on that play or any others on the board that maybe we missed?
I did want to mention how slick Amags Astros hat is. I really like the design of that hat. But I do actually like that Rockies play a bit, Sia. I also really like fading Paddock as well. There could be some more on that later if you're a SportsLine subscriber. Wink, wink. But yeah, I think that's a solid look for sure. I think Paddock has some very big strikeout numbers today.
Okay, that's very interesting. Danny Braska says plus money for first 5, getting plus a half a run. He says that's appealing. Buckets, I know later on in the week we got that new BetMGM promo that if you didn't hear about it with the home runs and the grand slams, we'll tell you about it later in the week. I can't imagine you are equipped with a home run play today already, right?
I am not yet. No, Sia.
All right. Well, I just want you to know that people are asking, you might have to go out and buy a new die, a set of dice. I'm just saying you might, I know the one is gone, but you might have to go get a new one because everyone's clamoring for it.
I get it.
More picks from Big Cheesy Gipper's picks. Absolutely. And by the way, the Amags, your hat game is so good. It's the best on the early edge by far. All right. Let's take a look at our recap screen before we get out of here. Amags, Yordan Alvarez over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs at minus 130. I've got the Orioles first 5 money line at minus 145. Buckets, Villanova. Basketball season, by the way, starts early November, if anybody is curious about that. And we're less than 100 days, well under 100 days from NFL and college football season. So let's get ready for that as well. Villanova, Ciara, both teams to score at even money. Propstarz, Dylan Cease to record a win. Speaking of plus money, that one's at plus 105 and more plus money. Oilers money line tonight, 8 o'clock against the Florida Panthers. Game 2 of the Stanley Cup Finals. Oilers money line is plus 120. Ladies and gentlemen, what a great show that was. Mostly because of all of you in the chat. A big happy birthday to Propstarz on behalf of him and Buckets and Amags and Jake the Snake on the 1s and 2s and everybody in the chat, including the Maestro and Danny Brasco. It's been a great Monday. Let's have an even better Monday with some cash tickets. We'll see you same time, same place, right here on the Early Edge tomorrow. I am the Counselor of Cash. This is the Early Edge, and we rest our case.